All right, so let's move into this. What do you do with your money? Now, it's not all about money, is it? It's not all about money, but boy, it starts there, because nothing causes trouble in your business like a lack of money. So we concentrate on money. Now, we've been going 7 years with the new flat rate. We're not all about money, not at all anymore. It's gone so far beyond that. But you've got to get your ducks in a row with money. You've got to have cash flowing through your business like water. And let me show you what to do with it. And by the way, we've got a guy here that taught me one time. I asked him, it's my brother Paul right here, who came all the way from Alaska. Thank you. We're glad to have him. Paul's been a contractor for a long time. In 1984, I was praying, asking God what to do with my life. And I came up with two things, and I told Karen, I knew it was time to go, time to leave our little tiny Minnesota town. And so I told my wife, I said, we're leaving in, I think it was 45 days. She said, where we're going? I said, we're either going to Alaska to get rich, or we're going to Bible school in Tennessee. Well, Paul went to Alaska, I went to Tennessee. So here, about a year or so ago, and Paul's been a great brother, by the way. When I was destitute, I could call him for a loan that he knew it'd take a long time to get it back. He bought my boat. Then he bought another boat. And then he called me one day and he says, oh man, I got this great deal on a Mastercraft. And I said, you already have 2 Mastercrafts. He says, yeah, but he said, you can't pass this up. It's a super wakeboard boat, worth about $135,000. I'm going to get it for $50,000. And I said, $50,000? You have a boat. Why would you spend $50,000 on another one? Oh man, this one has it all. It's got the stereo, the bars, it's got it all. I thought he was crazy. So I thought I talked him out of it. And about a week later, man, I got the boat. So I asked him a question that's really changed a lot of what we do for you. I said, how do you make a decision to spend $50,000? Oh, he says, I don't touch my base. I said, what's your base? He says, $75,000. I said, what does that mean? He says, it means I've got to be $75,000 liquid at any time. He said, so if I want to buy a boat for $50,000, I have to have $125,000 because I'm going to buy the boat for $50,000 and I'm still going to have my $75,000 base. And I thought, what a concept. It'd be nice if you told me that about 30 years ago. But you didn't start with a $75,000 base, did you? Probably with a couple of $1,000, $5,000, then 10. So we developed a thing that we've shared with many of you called 2020. We've said when you start using the new flat rate, I want you to get to 2020. $20,000 in savings and $20,000 in working capital. So all your bills are paid, you got $20,000 in the bank, 20 in someplace else. How many have done that? Oh my gosh, look at that. Hooray. Hooray. Yeah, give yourselves a hand. We have to get to the place where we make decisions from financial stability instead of financial desperation. And now we've got a tool that we can do that with, so that's exciting. Then I said, then I want you to go to 40-40. $40,000 in the bank, $40,000 in working capital with all your bills paid. How many got that? Wow. Congratulations. And some of you are beyond that. How exciting is that? I mean, just how exciting is that? All right, let's begin. Let me show you just a simple concept. You see, the job of the CEO is to preserve and protect the profit. All right? The profit is why we're in business. If you're an entrepreneur, that's different than being in big business. An entrepreneur, it's almost impossible for an entrepreneur to operate a business plan. These slides are in your book too if you want to make notes on the slides. The entrepreneur will always fail a business plan for one reason: lack of money. So you make a business plan. I'm going to put 6% into marketing. I'm going to pay myself $1,000 a week. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do. 3 weeks later, you don't have money for payroll. What do you do with the plan? It's out the door, right? You know how many times? I mean, I'm sure you're like me. I've bought the software, 20 years ago to write a business plan. I've worked with the Small Business Association to write the business plan. You get the picture. Doesn't work. We've been taught you got to set your prices. You got to know your prices. So materials plus labor, plus other costs, equipment rental, whatever, plus your overhead and profit is your selling price. We've been taught that by accountants, and it's fiscally sound. It's fiscally sound for business people. And I had a guy call me one time, and he said, "Hey, Rodney, I've been watching your videos," and he said, "I just bought a small appliance company down along the Atlantic coast someplace, 4 trucks." And he said, I said, "Great, you know, were you a technician?" "Oh, no." He says, "I just retired from Panasonic. I retired as vice president of Panasonic for the last 30 years. I said, "Oh." He said, "I like some of your ideas," and so he would call me from time to time, and I would give him ideas. He would immediately go. Like I told him, he says, "What do you do for add-on sales?" Well, back then I was putting foggers in the truck and sanitizing air ducts. So he immediately put foggers in his trucks. Calls me back, he says, "Hey, we made $40,000 with foggers this month." You know, the guy, he sees an opportunity, he does it. Last I talked to him, he was up to 90 trucks. You know what a business, see, so he's from Panasonic, so what does he do? He immediately calls the big appliance companies and makes deals to take all of their warranty work in that part. Just takes all the warranty work in that part of the country. He builds his client base. About 2 years later, he quit doing their warranty work because now he had the customers and he built it up, blah, blah. You get the idea. So the entrepreneur model, let's take a look. If you're an entrepreneur and you've been taught accounting in school, or you're using this particular accounting method, it's going to be a bloodbath. You will be forced. You will be forced into debt. And the reason you'll be forced into debt is because there's never going to be enough money. Now here's your test. Do you have a problem paying taxes on all that profit? What I liked about being a contractor for all those years, I never paid taxes. Are you kidding? Are you doing preemptive tax planning? Are you meeting with your CPA 4 times a year, preparing so that at the end of the year you don't have to write that huge check to Uncle Sam? I'm fine for sharing with Uncle Sam. Thanks to people like us, people that don't work can be fed, I guess. I don't know. So let's just pull some numbers out of the air. Using a 20%, oh, we'd all like to make 20%. So let's say that you set up your pricing on 20%. And so using standard accounting, let's just say your sales for the week are $10,000, payroll's $3,850, other expenses, material, equipment, gas, oil, lunches, had to buy a file cabinet, had to buy a new laptop, new tires on the truck. Anyway, we spent $5,455. Profit for the week, $695. Our gross profit, gross margin, 7%. Who's okay with that? Hey, I'd have been thrilled with that. Are you kidding? Payroll's made. Payroll's made, and I got $695. That's got to be good, right? So our gross profit was 7%. Well, let's take a closer look. What happens if we're in business to make a profit? What if we were real about this thing called business, right? We're in business to make a profit. What that means is there has to be some money left over to pay taxes on, right? There has to be some accountability there. All right? So what if we just took that profit? Okay, you set up your prices. The guy wanted to buy a widget from you, and you said it's going to be $10,000. Why? Well, because you had materials, labor, et cetera, and 20% profit. $2,000 was in there for profit. Well, it's going to be a good day, right? So let's just do a profit grab. $10,000, we get the check from the customer, we take $2,000 out. We go put that in another savings account because that's where we're going to start building our 2020. And let's see what's left. Look at that, $8,000 left. What a deal. Oh, shoot, of course we got to make payroll. Always have to do that. Well, then of course, you know, these were our expenses for the week. Remember that file cabinet and the laptop and all of that stuff. So what was our real profit this week? We lost $1,300. 13% loss. Now you got to ask yourself, is it possible to be in business thinking you're making a profit while losing money? Is that possible? Anybody ever been there? You know, yeah, I see those hands. Gee, I only lost $1,300 this week. That's pretty good. Believe me, there was a time when I would have said that. Oh, only lost $1,300. I can borrow that from Paul. So the accountants say it's all the same. I was talking to a business consultant one day, and he had been a business consultant to our industry for 20 years, going around to businesses like yours, telling you the great ways to organize your finances. And I was telling him about take that profit grab, take that $2,000. He says, well, you can't do that. I said, well, it's profit, right? Well, yeah, but you can't take it. I said, why? He says, you need it to run the business. See, that's an accountant talking. You need that money to run the business. See, they think it's all the same. So an entrepreneur, it's like this. There's your income, and your expense is different. It's a different number. So sales price minus profit equals expenses. What does that mean? It means the leftover money is how you pay your expenses. All right? Sales minus profit. So that $8,000, that's all the money you have. If you take that $2,000 and get it out of the business, all you have left to pay your bills is $8,000. If you can't pay your bills with that $8,000, what's it going to do? It's going to get your attention, isn't it? You're going to say something's wrong. So if your real profit was a loss of $1,300, how are you going to pay the bills? You can't, can you? Something's not getting paid. You ever been there when something doesn't get paid? Right? What's the first thing that doesn't get paid? You. Isn't that right? What's the second thing that doesn't get paid? Me. The owner's son. It's a fair deal. When all my kids were 16 years old, they'd come and work for me, and the girls would run parts all summer long. They would run parts, and the boys would get on the truck. But when my boys were 16, I would put them in the pickup truck, and I'd say, come with me, and I'd take them on my little vision run. We'd go out into the country, and we'd look at one of these beautiful southern estates. Oh, beautiful home, columns, you know, big white fence all the way around, a couple of bison floating around, you know, just gorgeous. And so that's where I'd stop and I'd have the talk with my sons, and I would say, look at what this man has done. Look at this estate. He started with nothing like you. But if you'll come to work early, and if you'll stay late, and if you'll tighten your belt, don't ask for a lot, really give a lot. If you will work hard every single day and never complain and just constantly build and build, then one day all of this will be mine. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Melody. All right. So if you're in business to make a profit and you steal the profit, now here's the thing. If you steal from profit, and if you take profit and spend it, you are stealing it. If you steal from profit, you're destroying the thing called business. You're actually lying to yourself. You're saying, oh, that money is available, I can use that. That's a lie. It's an absolute lie. We've been taught business is one thing, but we act another way. Lack of money gets attention. This is the biggest, most important thing. You see, when we're spending the profit, we don't realize that we're so broke because, oh, I made payroll. Oh, I was able to pay my bills. Oh, I only had to put $5,000 on credit cards this week. Let's take it one step at a time. Grab the profit, move it to another account. Now, not all of you have to do this. Some of you might be retired from Panasonic. You might be CPAs, accountants, et cetera, et cetera. You maybe don't, but me? I had to go open a bank account a long ways away, okay? Sign my name, don't take any withdrawal slips, just leave it there. Get it to where I can't get to it. Could I start by taking 10% or 20%, taking that whole $2,000? Are you kidding? Maybe I started with $100. Maybe 1%, a half a percent, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. You see what I mean? You have to start so that you're building that and it forces you to look at the money. And by the way, had you been doing that, well, you wouldn't have bought the file cabinet that week, right? Did you notice that? Why did they buy the file cabinet? Because they had cash flow. They just had a job. They just got a $10,000 check. Maybe for you, you just got a $100,000 check, right? And so you had all that cash flow, you know? So step one, you grab the profit first. Start with whatever you can, but start with something. Step two, at the time of purchase, you pay. My carrier distributor probably saved my business many times, because when I got in trouble, what did they do? They put me on cash. But they put me on a thing called, and it was really smart, they put me on a thing called cash plus 500, which meant I could still buy equipment. Okay, so when I sold equipment, I got paid for it. All of my invoices said 50% deposit with order, balance on installation, not on completion. Because when my guys were installing, I'd go over, hey, how's it going? How are my boys doing? They doing you a good job? Hey, you want to do the paperwork? I always did the paperwork and got full payment the first day they started. But really, probably 80 or 90% of the time, I had 100% of the money in my bank before we did the work. Because about 15 years ago, with the GE financing and stuff, I could fill out the paperwork, turn it in. I didn't need a completion certificate in Georgia, and I'd have the money before we started. So then that meant when I went to buy my equipment, let's say it was $2,500 for a package unit from my carrier distributor. Okay, I could buy that for $2,500 plus $500. The extra $500 went on my account, and that's how I could keep buying and be paying off my account. And so that worked pretty good. So when you buy something, you pay for it. Whether you use cash, check, or credit, of course, you pay for it when you buy it. None of this, depending on, if you're somebody that's struggled with some debt, then you don't do these 30-day accounts at your, for equipment stuff. You pay for it right now. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. We're going to the islands. So when do you reconcile? Step 3. Reconciling is paying off bills and credit card charges. You don't wait for the statement. Well, you get the statement, then you got another 15 days to pay it. No, no. You know that, let's say that you put $2,500 on a credit card for the unit. When do you pay that off? As soon as you get paid for that unit, right? So twice a month, maybe the 1st and the 15th, or the 5th and the 20th, whatever, twice a month, you download your credit card statements, you look at everything you have, and twice a month you spend your money. Twice a month. Get rid of the money. What are you holding money for? If you're moving profit to another account, if the expenses will cover the bills, what are you afraid of, right? You see, what our problem is our pricing is so shady, back before the new flat rate, that it wouldn't always cover the bills. So we were afraid. We had to hoard money. All right. So you get the habit of paying fiscal responsibility. Pay your bills twice a month. Everything. Find every bill and pay it. Learn to live debt-free. Obviously, a lot of you are debt-free. And then step 4, you pay your overhead. Now, overhead is just another word for obligations. Okay? You got building payments, rent, truck payments, utilities, telephones, internet, whatever the heck you got. Those are obligations, and you pay them. If you've budgeted $500 a month that you're putting into account so you can buy new trucks next year or something, that's an obligation. It's in your overhead. It's in your pricing model, so you pay it. It's an obligation. Start thinking of overhead as obligations. What if there's not enough money? You can only do what you can do, right? When there's not enough money? The thing that saved me from going insane, from going absolutely crazy, was this one statement. I can only do what I can only do. You know? When a creditor would call and say, hey, we got to have $15,000 today. What would I think? Hey, I can only do what I can only do. If I had the money, by George, it'd be yours. Matter of fact, I'd have been over there this morning with a cup of coffee and some donuts in the money, but I don't have it. So when I get it, I'll give you a call. I can only do what I can do. You work your way out of the situations. Now, you don't pay everything, but you do what you can do, but you don't touch the profit. You have to begin putting the profit aside. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll tell you what you can do with that profit, okay? But for right now, just think about we have to move it, force ourselves to pay out of expenses. If expenses aren't enough, we're doing something wrong, okay? We're either spending money that we shouldn't be spending, but we're doing something wrong, and that's when we have to correct it. So let's get started. Now, the good news about the new flat rate is if you're doing it right, you should have more money than you've ever had in your life, okay? You should just, money should be flowing. There's 2 things that you need. The entrepreneurial contracting model is like a 2-cylinder engine, okay? The new flat rate generates cash. And then the other cylinder that you got to have is the marketing, okay? It has to work together. You have to have, because here's what we found. When people come on board with the new flat rate, a lot of people find us they're already, hey, they're in trouble. They've been fighting break even forever. They've already tried a whole lot of other stuff. And it's not uncommon for them to come to us and money's tight. Now, when somebody calls me and says, I have absolutely no money, but I really need the new flat rate, then all I care about is one thing. Do you still have some call volume? Is your phone still ringing? If it is, I can help you. No question, I can help you. But if your business has already dwindled away to nothing, to where the phones aren't even ringing, wow, you're in a tough spot. You've got to be able to build call volume, and with call volume, there's no question we can make a lot of money for you. Now here's what I want to say. We're in our 7th year at the new flat rate. The new flat rate is being used between 20 and 30,000 times a week, nationwide plus Canada. 20 to 30,000 times a week. My phone number is on every new flat rate. If you've got a book, an iPad, in the script part, my cell phone number is there. Matt's cell phone is there. Leo's phone is there now. You hear any phones ringing? 20 to 30,000 times a week. You'd think our phones would be ringing off the hook. Every technician using it has our personal cell phone numbers. What does that tell you? It works. Something about it's working, right? Now we've learned from people like you. We've had to tweak. We've had to learn. But what you're going to see this week from the rest of my team is that if you will follow the process, there's never been anything to work quite like this, except, of course, McDonald's or anything else like that, right?